June 1944. A German sentry stands watch on the Normandy coast. Midnight. Fog rolls in from the channel. He hears nothing. Then cold steel slides between his ribs, 7 inches deep, piercing his heart. He dies before his knees hit the ground. The commando withdraws the blade and moves to the next guard post. 3 more sentries die the same way. Silent, instant, invisible. The weapon measured 11.5 inches long and weighed 14 ounces. It was specifically designed to let one man kill another without making a single sound. The Fairbairn-Sykes fighting knife was never meant to be humane. It was meant to be efficient, brutally, terrifyingly efficient at one task: killing enemy soldiers in complete silence. The problem facing British Special Forces in 1940 was deadly simple. Commandos needed to eliminate sentries without alerting nearby patrols. Coastal raids demanded stealth. Behind enemy lines, noise meant capture, torture, and executed resistance networks. Standard infantry bayonets were too large and clumsy. Trench knives from the Great War were designed for brawling, not surgical assassination. What commandos needed was a weapon designed for one purpose: silent sentry removal. No struggle, no sound, instant death. The task fell to 2 men whose expertise in killing was unmatched in the British military: William Ewart Fairbairn and Eric Anthony Sykes. Both had served in the Shanghai Municipal Police during the 1920s and 1930s. Shanghai was the most violent city on earth. Fairbairn personally survived dozens of street fights. He studied every martial art he could find. He catalogued what worked in actual combat versus what looked good in training halls. By the time he left Shanghai, Fairbairn had been involved in over 600 documented fights. Most ended with a blade. Sykes was his partner and collaborator. Together they developed Defendu, a brutal, close combat system focused entirely on killing efficiency. No sport, no honor, just survival. When war came, both men were recruited by the Special Operations Executive. Their mission was to train commandos in silent killing. But they quickly realized British forces lacked the proper weapon. Fairbairn and Sykes designed the knife themselves in 1940. They understood exactly what was needed because they had used knives to kill in Shanghai streets. The blade had to penetrate heavy winter coats and uniforms. It had to reach vital organs from multiple angles. It had to withdraw cleanly without catching on bone or cartilage. It had to be balanced for throwing if necessary. And it had to be slim enough to conceal completely. The result was elegant and lethal. A 7-inch double-edged blade. Dagger profile, needle-sharp point. The blade was diamond cross-section for the first few inches, then flattened toward the edges. This design provided rigidity for penetration while maintaining cutting edges. The point could pierce between ribs. The edges could slash arteries. The blade tapered continuously from guard to tip, creating a natural blood groove that prevented suction when withdrawing from a wound. The grip was checkered metal, later covered in leather or rubber washers for better purchase. A small oval guard prevented the hand from sliding forward onto the blade during a thrust. Total weight 14 ounces, perfectly balanced at the guard. The entire knife measured 11.5 inches, small enough to tape to the leg or forearm under clothing, light enough to carry multiple blades. Commandos learned to kill with it at special training centres across Scotland. The technique was simple. Approach from behind. Left hand covers the mouth and pulls the head back, exposing the throat and preventing any cry for help. Right hand drives the blade upward under the ribs into the heart, or across the throat, severing both carotid arteries. Death came in seconds, silently. German sentries on the Norwegian coast died this way in 1941. French resistance fighters used the same techniques on collaborators. British commandos eliminated guards before explosive raids on German radar stations. In Burma, Chindits carried Fairbairn-Sykes knives through jungle operations. The blade worked equally well against Japanese sentries. One documented account comes from Norway, 1943. Commandos approached a German coastal garrison at night. 4 sentries on perimeter patrol. The team split into pairs. Each pair took a target, synchronized kills. 4 Germans died within 30 seconds of each other. No shots, no alarms. The commandos planted explosives on fuel tanks and withdrew before the garrison realized anything was wrong. The knife made it possible. Another report from France describes a resistance fighter eliminating a Gestapo informant in occupied Paris. The target walked down a narrow street at night. The knife went in from behind, 7 inches between the shoulder blades into the spine. The informant collapsed instantly. The resistance fighter was 3 blocks away before the body was discovered. The psychological impact on German forces was substantial. Commandos became ghosts. Men died on guard duty, and no one heard them die. No struggle, no sound. Bodies found in the morning with small puncture wounds. The SS issued orders that sentries must work in pairs. Even this failed. Commandos simply killed both. The knife created a mystique around British special forces. They could kill you in your sleep. They could kill you while you stood guard surrounded by your own troops. The fear was justified. Between 1940 and 1945, thousands of Fairbairn-Sykes knives were issued to British commandos, SOE agents, SAS troopers, and Allied special forces. American OSS operatives received them. Canadian commandos carried them. Even Soviet special forces requested them through Lend-Lease programs. The knife became the symbol of elite warriors. Wilkinson's sword produced the first contract knives in 1941. Quality varied as production expanded to meet demand. By 1945, multiple manufacturers were producing versions. First pattern knives from 1910 are the most sought after by collectors. The blade profile was perfect. Later patterns modified the design slightly, with broader blades and different guard shapes. But the essential concept remained unchanged. A stiletto optimized for killing human beings as efficiently as possible. Total wartime production exceeded 250,000 units. Post-war, the knife remained in service with British forces through the Malayan Emergency, the Korean War, and the Falklands conflict in 1982. The SAS still issues Fairbairn-Sykes pattern knives today. Modern versions use better steel and improved grip materials, but the design is fundamentally identical to what Fairbairn and Sykes created in 1940. The knife influenced combat blade design worldwide. The American V-42 stiletto was directly inspired by it. Soviet special forces developed similar designs. Even today, special operations units worldwide carry knives based on this philosophy. Slim, double-edged blade. Needle point. Optimized for silent killing. If you are finding this deep dive into British Special Forces weapons interesting, subscribing helps ensure you do not miss the next one. June 1944, Normandy coast. A German sentry stands watch. He dies without making a sound. The knife that killed him was designed by two men who understood violence at a level most soldiers never experience. Fairbairn and Sykes created a weapon so effective at silent killing that it terrified an entire army. 250,000 knives produced. Countless sentries eliminated. The Fairbairn-Sykes fighting knife proved that sometimes the most effective weapon is not the loudest or the most powerful. Sometimes it is the one that lets you kill without anyone knowing you are there. That is British engineering. That is what commandos needed. And that is what Fairbairn and Sykes delivered.